Yes, guys, it is that time of the year again, with FIFA 21 quickly approaching and the 2021 Premier League season now underway. It is time for us to announce our first career mode for FIFA 21. I'm going to cut right to the chase. I've decided on Southampton as my first career mode. It just felt right for me to bring them back to the channel. We've done them twice before in FIFA 14 as well as FIFA 17. But if I'm being honest, I feel like both of those series were unfinished. I didn't get Southampton to the level that I wanted them to going into the career mode, and now that we found a format for these career mode videos that work for me, we'll be continuing with the format that I'm currently doing with Kaiserslautern. I feel like I can get this Southampton squad to the level I want them to, and for any career mode, of course, you want them to reach the highest levels of football, that being Champions League winners, Premier League winners, and maybe even domestic cup winners as well. But more than just that, Southampton is now one of the Premier League clubs that I follow, and I'm going to be making a big effort to tune in to those Premier League fixtures so that some of that IRL knowledge can translate over to career mode. But the premise of today's video is pretty laid back. I'll be going through each of Southampton's starting 11 players and substitutes. This was their team selection for the first Premier League fixture that they had against Crystal Palace, which they unfortunately lost 1-0. In addition to that, I think this will be a great opportunity for you all to get involved in transfer suggestions right away. You all know I like to get you involved in the series, and I'll be outlining a few positions that I think we can improve upon in this FIFA 21 career mode. But before we begin with the squad discussion, I have a few important things to point out. First off, all the overall ratings that you see will be the latest squad file in FIFA 20, so they are subject to change for FIFA 21. Some players overall are going to go up, some are going to go down, some will stay the same. Just keep that in mind. Also, the ages I have manually updated, so the ages you see here in the FIFA 20 version will be more or less what they will be in FIFA 21. If you're excited for our first career mode of FIFA 21, help me out by leaving a like on the video, and if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, would recommend doing so, as that is the best way to make sure you get notified about any new uploads. But getting right into it, we will start with Alex Mccarthy. A 77 overall goalkeeper. However, he had a pretty good Premier League season campaign last year, and to be honest, I am expecting an upgrade for him. He was pretty much Hasenhüttl's first choice selection after match day 10 when they suffered that big 9-0 defeat against Leicester. Couple that with the fact that Southampton were one of the most informed squads after the Premier League restart last season. I'm hoping that a lot of these overall ratings will go up. We will need to start thinking about a long-term replacement for Mccarthy because he is 30 years old. Hopefully, goalkeepers won't decline in their overall too heavily as they start to age, but I'll be outlining a few backup options as we start thinking about the long term of this career mode. At the left back position, we have Bertrand, who I still consider to be a very underrated fullback option, has some very balanced statistics. However, he is up there at 30 years old. So this will be one of the positions that we need to start looking to replace sooner rather than later. But hopefully for this first season, Bertrand will still feature in the squad quite often. But honestly, our defense is one of the best areas of this Southampton squad. Bednarak, another good option, only 24 years old, very consistent for the club and should have a high amount of potential next FIFA. Stevens, again, very consistent, and I would consider this duo to be our first choice options. Walker Peters is a new addition to Southampton for the 2021 season. Of course, he joined from Spurs. A lot of you that'll have watched the All or Nothing Tottenham Hotspur might recognize him, and hopefully he can fulfill the potential that he does have on FIFA with more first-team football. Of course, Ward-Prowse is a staple of our Southampton career modes. I feel like he's been around since FIFA 14, and now he is 79 rated at 25 years old. I won't make a lot of ratings predictions for this Southampton squad because that is not my forte. However, I will make one for Ward-Prowse. He has gone up +1 in every FIFA for the last couple of years, so I'm expecting an 80 rating for him. However, I'm not sure this center defensive mid position is the best fit for him. I consider him to be more of an attacking center midfielder and one that can create chances for our strike force. So what I plan on doing is moving him up to the center attacking mid position, and then Smallbone will probably feature as a substitute for us, meaning that this center defensive mid spot is definitely open for a transfer signing at the start of the career mode. There are a couple of players that Southampton have been linked with. The two players that have been the most linked with Southampton in the current transfer window are Koopmeiners and Soumaré. They would both be welcome additions if the club manages to complete those signings before the start of this career mode. However, if the transfers are not done, they'll definitely be added to our shortlist. But to accompany our future center defensive mid signing, we have Romeu alongside them, who has been a staple of Southampton's squad the last few seasons. He's a graduate of Barcelona's youth academy, and for what he does, I think he does a great job. He's going to be our holding center defensive mid, allowing the player alongside him to play more of a box-to-box role. Since we've already talked about Smallbone, we'll turn our attention over to Redmond, who I think deserves an upgrade. He's been extremely consistent for Southampton, contributing a few goals for them in the 1920 Premier League season. And he's one of the few players that add a bit of flair to this squad, which I think is needed in the winger department. Our strikers are also an exciting aspect of this squad. Danny Ings is coming off of his best Premier League season, finishing top 3 in goals scored. That should, of course, result in an upgrade, so that will at least allow one player to be 80 plus rated in this Southampton career mode. Alongside him, we currently have Shay Adams, who joined the club last season from Birmingham in the Championship. And now that it's his second Premier League season, I'm expecting some more goal contributions from him. If things don't work out with Adams, we do have a couple of other striker options in our substitutes and reserves, but this may be another position that we look to improve in the transfer window. That's going to round out our starting 11, but I do want to spend some time discussing our substitutes and reserves because there are some important players in here, starting with Fraser Forster. We have an interesting situation with our goalkeepers. Forster, a higher overall at 76, but he spent the last season on loan at Celtic. And then Gunn, who doesn't look to be the first choice option for us here at Southampton, but he does still have a good amount of potential because he's only 24 years old. I would appreciate your guys' feedback on what you think we should do with our goalkeepers. I think one of the three definitely have to be going out on loan. It's just a question of who it's going to be. Of course, the staple of any Southampton career mode is making sure that any youth academy graduates do receive some playtime, and Vokins is an exciting prospect for them. Only 57 rated with the latest squad file, but he made a few appearances for Southampton last year. He scored in the FA Cup, and I see him being a potential long-term replacement for Bertrand at the left back position. Over the years, Southampton have developed a few quality left backs through their youth academy. Luke Shaw and Matt Targett come to mind, so hopefully Vokins can do something similar. It's a bit disappointing to see Vestergaard here in the substitutes, considering he is currently Southampton's biggest ever arrival in terms of the transfer fee. However, he just hasn't found his way into the starting 11. It really seems like the current option of Bednarek and Stevens is the first choice for Hassan Hutel, but he's still fighting for a spot in the first team. Maybe he will achieve that in this career mode. There's a lot of promise with Gineppo. He mostly comes on as a substitute and rotational player, but he's had some moments of brilliance, including an incredible solo run that he managed to score in the last Premier League campaign. Tella is another graduate of the Southampton Academy. Looks to have a lot of pace, but outside of that, I don't know too much about him. Any of you followers of Southampton might be able to let me know some more in the comments section. But next up, we have Shane Long, of course, an experienced Premier League striker. It'll be good to have a veteran like him available in our substitutes. And another striker option here with Obafemi, quite a bit younger at just 19 years old, but has shown signs of promise and hopefully could be a good potential player for this career mode. To round things out, I do want to discuss a few players here in the reserves. Some of them will be players that we likely transfer list. Others might be players that we rotate into our substitutes and maybe even the first team at a later point in this career mode. But Gunn, we've already discussed. He's one of our goalkeeper options that we need to figure out. Holt is a player that was out on loan and probably will be looking to leave the club. Kind of the same thing with Boufal. Unfortunately, he just hasn't been part of Southampton's plans. I like him as a player in career mode, has the 4-star combo, which I'm a big fan of, but I'm still undecided what I'll do with him. Maybe we transfer list him, maybe we give him a chance to see how he actually plays in game. And kind of the same thing for Carrillo. Won't really be using him too much in this career mode, so we'll probably transfer list him. The players that you see in our second row reserves are also ones that I consider having a future in this career mode. Salisu is a new signing for the 2021 season and looks to have a lot of potential as well. So we won't need to bring in a lot of center backs for this career mode. Valeri is another right back option, and he had a lot of first team football a season or two ago, so definitely going to give him a chance. Elianusi, a very skillful player, and maybe he will be the new version of Boufal for me. I need that 4-star combo at somewhere in this career mode, some way, shape, or form. And then Armstrong, a good rotational player with balanced statistics. To give you an idea of the rest of the players in our squad, I'll showcase the rest of our reserves, but I won't be talking about them in detail. Maybe some of those players in the third row, such as Danzo, Sims, McQueen, and Lewis, will feature every now and then for this career mode. But I think that's going to wrap things up for this FIFA 21 Southampton career mode preview. Really excited about this series. With the new additions to career mode next year, I'm hoping this Southampton squad will fare well, but only time will tell. But hopefully we can achieve what we want to achieve with Southampton. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.